we embark on a journey northward to Aberdeen, which is earmarked to become Scotland's next shithole. Absolutely. And, you know, I didn't just come up with this on a whim. We've got some receipts. Some receipts. We've not got all the receipts, but it's becoming a shithole. Why is it becoming a shithole? Well, let's look at a few different reasons. Aberdeen houses fall in disappointing sales figures. Now, one would expect, well, we don't need to expect it. You could probably you could definitely correlate property prices in Aberdeen to the price of crude oil. Why is that? Because it's one of these, it's the offshore industry is basically based off Aberdeen, Montrose, that area in the north. If you want to go offshore, you go to Aberdeen, you get a helicopter route. Montrose, whatever it is. You go to the North Sea. So it doesn't take a genius to work out that if you're destroying the oil and gas industry, that you're also destroying Aberdeen. You're destroying the economic prospects of every Aberdonian. Absolutely simple stuff here, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't take a genius, to work this out. So and this is when we see average price of a detached house in Aberdeen decreased by 5,000 in 3 months. Right, that's the headline. Bear in mind that literally almost every single house in Britain, the price is going up. Why is the price going up? Because inflation is going up. The house prices must go up because your pound's becoming less. Your pound is buying less. You can go to the shop, your tenner is buying less and less every single week because of inflation. So it would stand to reason that every house in Britain, the price is going to rise purely due to inflation because the house is worth intrinsic value. You see what I'm saying? Whereas the pound fluctuates all the time, and it only fluctuates in a downward fashion because of inflation. It gets worse and worse and worse. We talked about in the housing policy show just on Friday there that a mortgage in 1990 for the average house price now, which is 100 in Scotland, it's just £192,000. So you take a mortgage out in 1990 to the tune of £192,000, and that direct comparison to this date, using the Bank of England's own inflation calculator, that £192,000 now equates to £466,000. That is inflation, ladies and gentlemen. And that is a mere 30 years inflation, where you've doubled, you're 2.5x the price of a mortgage, not the price of a mortgage, the value of the value of the pound. It's not increased, it's decreased 2.5 fold because everything's 2.5 times more expensive. And it doesn't, you don't need to go to a fancy university to work out that economics is just a massive, massive scam. Honestly, it doesn't take a wizard to understand. It doesn't take Socrates or Pythagoras to understand just how much we're getting shafted here every time the Bank of England turns on the tap and creates more money. Every time a bank gives you a mortgage, they're creating that money. They're not going into the back office. They're not turning the big vault open and pulling out £192,000. No, they're creating that £192,000 out of thin air. That's what happened with the 2008 banking crash. The banks still have to take liability for this, even though they've created it in nowhere. Even though they've created it in nowhere, lent it to you with interest, they still have to take liability. They still have to have it on their books. That's what happened with the 2008 crash when it went haywire. And we didn't even have a resolution for that. We didn't even have there was no conclusion. It was just allowed to continue and get worse. The bubble to inflate and get worse and worse and worse and worse. Until now, we're in this situation where the only story value, really, is gold. It's gold and silver. That's the only story value, really. Bitcoin, you've seen, we talked about it on our Monday show again. A man back when Bitcoin was first coming around in the early 2010s, a man bought 2 pizzas for 10,000 Bitcoin. And we worked out on that show that these 2 pizzas, 10,000 Bitcoin, is now worth $1.018 billion. The most expensive pizzas in mankind's history. And it's only going to go up. It's only going to go up. We've seen El Salvador with a Bitcoin sovereign fund, wealth fund. El Salvador is going to become one of the best countries on the planet. The United States is going to do the exact same thing. Watch it happen, ladies and gentlemen. Watch it happen. Of course, Donald Trump must protect the dollar. Right now he does. Until they can make the switch to Bitcoin or crypto, because our financial market just doesn't work. The only way to defeat the central banks, the printing scammers, the only way to defeat them is with crypto or gold, some sort of cryptocurrency tied to gold. That's the only way to defeat them. You know why? Because you can't print more Bitcoin. There's a finite amount of Bitcoin, and that's it. So you can't print more. That's why you can defeat them. But why is Aberdeen becoming a shithole? Because of this dogmatic, retarded approach, it just was destroying our oil and gas industry. Something that Aberdeen was famed for. You know, the average price in Aberdeen, a house, is almost 100 grand more than the average price right across Scotland. And yet we're seeing it decrease. Boom, boom, it's decreasing, it's decreasing, it's decreasing. Tied to the oil and gas industry, quite obviously. So as Aberdeen is slowly losing house, value in their houses, what else is happening? Oh well, just to shitify the place even more. We get this. I've lifted this from Craig Houston. So Craig Houston puts a good friend, Craig Houston, I must add. Thank you if you're watching the show. Give us a comment, Craig. But anyway, students at University of Aberdeen, big exclamation mark, announcement. And this was put out and it almost has like 50, 60,000 views for Craig. Announcement. We have received some reports of girls being followed/chased home by men from Aberdeen Beach. This seems to be happening during the evenings and quieter times. Please avoid going to the beach alone, and especially at night. Make sure someone is aware of your location, route, and ETA. Please stay safe and feel free to reach out if you have any concerns or need someone to talk to. And this is in the wake of, for the last few weeks, we've been seeing on STV, there's 2 women missing in Aberdeen. 2 Hungarian sisters, twin sisters, missing in Aberdeen. And they look and they look and they look and they scour the river and they scour the river and they find 2 bodies. And now let's look at Aberdeen. Why is it being shitified? Well, we've just popped 4 migrant hotels in Aberdeen. Look, there's one right at the beach. Is it coincidence? Is it fuck? This is why Aberdeen's becoming a shithole. You've got the combination of the fact that we've got this destructive net zero policy just laying waste to Aberdeen and its industry and its workers. It takes such a huge level of expertise to work offshore. And it takes a huge amount of work ethic. And you're making personal sacrifices. When you work offshore, you're maybe there 2 weeks on, was it 3 weeks on, a week off, 2 weeks on, a few days off, whatever it is. You're making huge sacrifices for you and your family to do this dangerous, skill-heavy job. So if you take that away from Aberdeen, if you subtract that for Aberdeen, if you close down the oil and gas industry, what's going to happen? It's going to become a fucking shithole. And then what you do, you plop 4 migrant hotels in Aberdeen. Welcome to hell. Welcome to Scotland's new shithole. And we'll just see the absolute death of Aberdeen. It's just going to happen. I can see it. I can see the future. And I don't need a crystal ball in order to do it. It's absolutely sickening. Welcome to Aberdeen, twinned with Mogadishu. That's what they'll be saying in a year's time. Absolutely sick. And we've got a wee clip in order to show. But I will put up, sometimes I don't even know how to produce my own show, but we're missing the picture of Keir Starmer giving you McDonald's. Sorry, guys. Missed it. But anyway, welcome to Aberdeen, twinned with Mogadishu. The slow, methodical death of the oil and gas industry. The house prices plummet. The migrant hotels come in. And migrant hotels are like cancer on any city. Crime goes up. House prices go down. And let's look at a wee clip that I lifted from today. So this was this is a clip. Again, we do have some decent journalists in Scotland. I'm not going to lie. We've got some of them. And I think the guy that's conducting this interview is one of them. But here is a Scottish media type journalist. He's interviewing the GB Energy boss. Now, I want you to look closely at the GB Energy boss in this clip because it looks like he's on drugs, ladies and gentlemen. His pupils look weird. He just looks crazed. His hand gestures are mental. It doesn't look sane. It looks like he's already on the defensive. He's on the defensive because he knows that he's shoveling a pile of shit. And he must make it look like it's good. He's pissing on us, and he has to tell us it's raining. It's his job to tell us it's raining. And it's not piss. It's not a golden shower. So here's the GB Energy boss.
Is that by having more homegrown, clean energy here, we're going to protect from global events suddenly creating a panic where people have to pay.
You can't tell me that guy isn't on drugs. I mean, just look at it.
Is that by having more homegrown, clean energy here, we're going to protect from global events suddenly creating a panic where people have to pay higher bills, and we're protecting people from that. And ultimately, yes, it will help bring energy prices down.
When?
Well, it's a matter for government and policy to decide.
But as the boss of this and as someone who is driving forward the ambition of the government, you surely have an idea in your head of when that central pledge to the people of reducing their bills by £300 will come into action.
It is not in the remit of Great British Energy to work out exactly how that energy costing gets through to the consumer. That's
what consumers were pledged, though, wasn't it?
Well, no, look, consumers were pledged that Great British Energy is going to help bring those energy prices down, and we will.
Still don't know when, though.
No, I'm giving you an answer. More renewable energy is bringing people's energy bills down. It's a great thing for British people. It's creating jobs for British people, and that is the best way of doing it.
Can you see why people think this is a bit vague?
Well, look, at the end of the day, I know that you're asking me for a date as to when I can bring that. Great British Energy has only just been brought into creation.
Can we be clear as to how many jobs the northeast of Scotland will benefit from?
Great British Energy itself is going to create, over the next 5 years, 200 or 300 jobs in Aberdeen. That will be the size of our team. But look, that is...
They were promised 1,000.
Look, and I said in the very long term, as we become a major energy champion, it may be many more than that.
What's the very long term?
Well, look, we grow these companies. Energy companies grow over 10, 20 years, and we're going to be around in 20 years as a British energy champion.
So it could take 20 years to get 1,000 jobs.
Look, but the issue that you're completely missing here is the thousands of jobs that are being created in the supply chain.
Piss on me and tell me it's raining. That's what I've got to say about this guy, honestly. And it just seems so erratic. So we must, renewables are great for Britain. The more we put up, the cheaper your bills become. Well, hold on a minute. We've just littered our entire landscape with these windmills. Energy bills come up. What a lot of crap. It's just sick. It's sick. And again, the net zero thing is such a massive scam. Such a massive scam. It's unbelievable. Aye, of course, we want less pollution. Of course. But what, to turn the tap on our economy, just to turn it to zero? To turn our prospects to zero? To turn the opportunities for our kids to zero? No, I don't think so. No, when China's building a coal power plant every other day. In India, it's just polluting the entire, we've got whole areas of the sea that's just plastic. Ah, Christ. Honestly, it gets me annoyed. But let's look again at these migrant hotels, the map. Let's look at the map. These migrant hotels, and people phone me up all the time. They say, Niall, when are we doing another protest? What are we doing a protest on? We just need another protest. I need to vent my anger. I'm losing the rag here. The government's destroying us. Well, yes, it is. But I think I've found the protest situation. I think I've found where to do the protests. It's at every city, every place that's got a migrant hotel. That's where we do the protests. It's no right that these people are housed here. It's no right that we are endangering Aberdonians by placing these hotels here. Let's look at. I mean, people are they're becoming billionaires by having these hotels and filling them up with migrants. They're becoming billionaires. If you own the hotel and the government said to you, we'll make sure that every single room that you have is occupied in perpetuity, and we'll pay you X for it, you'd be daft not to take it. Well, one, you would be a traitor to your own people. And we've seen this in we've seen this in Ireland, where people own the hotels are getting, some of them are coming out on the other side of the fence in the protest and saying, no, I'm not doing it. No, I'm not doing it. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't put a hotel with 1,000 migrants in a small village of 200-300 people. What's going to happen? It's going to become a shithole. And this is what these migrant hotels are doing. They're shitifying our cities. They're becoming crime-ridden hellholes. Aberdeen twinned with Mogadishu. So there you go. That's the answer to all the people that are on the phone saying, Niall, where are we going to do the protests at? What's the topic? Well, I think I've found it. We need to go to Aberdeen and we need to have a rally, a protest about the migrant camps, the migrant hotels. And we need to find out who owns these hotels in the first place, and we need to name them and shame them, because they in turn are benefiting. They are taking money. They are benefiting financially by endangering people in Aberdeen. The people who own these hotels and have signed a deal with the government, they are endangering the people of Aberdeen. 100%. So there you are, ladies and gentlemen. Aberdeen earmarked as the next shithole. And let's bring up the map as well. Let's share the tab. Let's share the tab. We'll bring this down. Where did I get the information? Let's bring it up. Here's the map. Is there a migrant hotel near you? Well, is there? Let's go. Oh, look at Glasgow. Look at it. Absolutely littered with migrant hotels. Littered. So we'll do a protest in Glasgow. One night right next to Ibrox. Mind, there was one right in the city centre. Remember, there was one in the city centre and there was a knife attack because the guy's Wi-Fi went down. And again, do you think these migrants actually want to be sort of siloed into these hotels? We're promising these migrants the world and then just basically imprison them. And they're going to lose their ag. This isn't beneficial to Glaswegians or the people they're putting in the hotels. It's not beneficial. We're selling them a lie. Look, we've got one in Greenock. One right there in Greenock. Where else in Scotland are they? Erskine, Paisley, Falkirk, Bathgate, Edinburgh. Thank God Fife seems to be safe. Fife, the kingdom of Fife, rallies again. Perth, we've got 2 in Perth. And there was an issue with the folk in Perth. And there was an issue, I think there was already a protest about the swans in Perth. Where else are they? Dundee. Oh, it's Humza's territory. It's Humza's back garden. Of course there's going to be a migrant hotel in Humza's house. We need more customers for his brother-in-law. Of course there's going to be one there. But this is why I'm saying Aberdeen is going to become shitified. Because look at the prevalence. Of course, they're mostly in the Central Belt, right? Glasgow's absolutely littered bit. Sort of Central Belt. What one's that one, actually? What one's that one? Lanark. Oh, no. Lanark, if you've not been to Lanark, beautiful place. Beautiful place. I think that's where William Wallace was hiding out. And now we've got a migrant hotel. Well done. But this is why I'm saying Aberdeen is earmarked for the next shithole, because there's 4. There's 4. And Aberdeen, although it looks like a big place, it's actually rather small. It's actually rather small. So there you are, ladies and gentlemen. That's why it's earmarked as the next shithole.